God bless y'all, brothers and sisters. All praises be to the Most High. Please excuse my tardiness. I don't know what's going on. I'm having technical difficulties. I've been sitting here for like the past 30, almost 40 minutes trying to figure out what's going on with the StreamYard. I know if you streaming on YouTube and Facebook, it's probably like a half a screen. It just came out of nowhere. I'm not finna blame it on the devil or nothing like that, man. But sometimes this type of things happen, and we just gotta let the show must go on, man. So like I said, this gospel don't stop. You hear me? How everybody doing? I hope you guys doing well. Welcome to another night of Diving Deep with Brotha-Raven. And as the clock keeps ticking down, we are just days away from our Dallas trip. And I see I got too much headroom. We're just days away from our Dallas trip, man. So if you are in the Dallas, Texas area and you would like to come and just inquire about our paid Bible studies, man, hit me in the DMs like I always say. And after this paid Bible study this month, the next one will be in March, the end of March. We'll be in Houston, Texas. And then following right after that in May, we will be in California, where I'm currently at, which I'm so glad because my frequent flyer miles are off the chain. I tell you, I've never traveled so much since I've been in this community. It is a blessing. And I love the fact that I get to communicate and be in contact with my brothers and sisters all across the 50 states, all across the United States, man. So it's a beautiful blessing. We always meet as much as we possibly can. And since we've been doing these paid Bible studies, we've been meeting every other month in different cities. So if you're interested in seeing what we're about, please holler back. And I will, if you talk to me, and I'll talk back. But enough of all that. Let's go ahead and pray in. Let's get started. Tonight we're going to be in Mark chapter 6. And before I give y'all my little intro, what we're going to be diving into, let's go ahead and pray in and wash our hands because we are running late and behind schedule. Father, I thank you for another night. I thank you for any day above ground. Father, I thank you for the breath that is currently breathing in all of our bodies. And Father, as we dive deep into the book of Mark tonight, I want to give a reassurance of the things what will be expected when we choose to follow after you. Once we submit our lives and once we say, I'm signing up to fight in my Father's army and to be a part of his harvest, to be one of his laborers in his harvest, Father. When we say these things and we sign up for it, Father, there's a lot that comes with it. And one of the things is going to be rejection. So tonight I want to just reassure and I want to encourage at the same time what this fight and what this life and this salvific warfare is all about. So, Father, I pray that the people who is listening, I pray that you speak to them. I pray that if anybody is out here seeking and searching for you or trying to just find a body of believers in fellowship, I pray that Father, they find it in tonight's word. And Father, I just want to encourage those who is walking this walk, fighting a good fight, and is ready to surrender and give their life fully to you. So, Father, I humbly pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, brothers and sisters, tonight we're going to be in Mark chapter 6. And tonight's study, like I say, like I'm in my prayer, I want to give some reassurance to some things that you going to expect. You have to expect when you decide, do everything Christ just did every day. Once you decide to follow after the Father and be a part of this journey, it's going to be some things that's going to be discouraging. There's going to be some times where you feel like you want to give up. It's going to be a rejection that you're going to probably have never felt when you choose to serve the Lord. And I promise you, it's something that each and every one of your brothers and sisters go through. And if you talk to me, I will talk back. So hit me in the chat, TikTok. And like I was saying, we just going to have to understand that it's going to be some things that they did to our Messiah, the one who we claim to walk after. And we got to expect that it's going to be done to us too. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So what we do over here, if you're just new to this channel, what we do is we read the word, then we write it down as we read it, as we're reading, going through it. It's something that I have started doing, and I'm starting to see results in it. I encourage anybody else to, if you see something here unique and you want to catch on, please go for it. It's something about writing the word down, writing anything down. It's almost like you writing it in stone. You're making it concrete, and it's resonating. You have a more attachment to it. And it really resonates and it really stores in your database. Like, real talk, I ain't gonna lie to you. So without further ado, let's get right into it. We're in Mark chapter 6. We're gonna start with verse 1. So Jesus left there and went to his hometown accompanied by his disciples. See, it's funny when you will become common to folks. You know, like when you was little, your aunties and uncles, they know you as little Ray Ray or little John John, little Kiki, whatever your nickname was. When they know you, when people who knew you from when you were younger and they see you grow up, they have this attachment to you that they think they know you better than you know yourself. And no matter what kind of walk or how you turn out, they always gonna remember and see you as that little child that they once knew and seen grow up from a girl to a woman or from a boy to a man. So it's very important that we understand that this is to be expected, so we won't take offense and we won't be heartbroken and we won't be caught into a limbo of trying to decide what we should and shouldn't do or how we should and should act in front of certain people. Because it's painful. I ain't gonna lie to you. Speaking of one from experience, when you decide to walk this walk, you're gonna see a certain side in people who you knew and grew up with that you never seen before. And for anybody who's really walking this walk, you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go to verse 2. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogues, and many who heard him were amazed. When the Sabbath came, so as we clearly see, we see the Messiah kept the Sabbath by going and doing good things. What was one of the good things he often did? He often went into the synagogues and he taught. That's how he kept the Sabbath. And we see in other chapters all throughout the New Testament, he didn't just go in the synagogues and teach. He did a whole bunch of stuff that at the time the religious people, they wanted to stone him for. And many who heard him were amazed. See, that's a beautiful thing, and that's something that I always look at when I'm reading about the Messiah. It's like I want to mimic him in every kind of way, form, or fashion. I want to talk like he talked. I want to preach the way he preached, and I want to do the things that he did. So studying after his life will give you a good blueprint of where you should be, and you can measure yourself to see where you're currently at. So look, let's keep going. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogues, and many who heard him were amazed. Where did this man get these things? That's how they were. So they was amazed, and look at the first question they had for themselves and amongst each others. Where did this man get these things? So the way he taught was none like the others and more than the most. Clearly. So they asked, what's the wisdom that has been given to him? So it's funny how they instantly acknowledge that this is wisdom. They can clearly understand and they know that off top. So you would think by their own admission, this is somebody whom I need to be listening to. This is somebody who clearly has divine wisdom that's coming from nothing of this earth. So you would think and you would assume that they would have nothing but the best to say and to do to this man. So let's see what their response is after they themselves, by their own admission, acknowledge him to be one of wisdom and to be amazed. What are these remarkable miracles he is performing? Look, it sounds like they bragging and boasting them up, right? What are these remarkable miracles he's performing? Now, you ain't got to be the smartest man in the world to know that if you're saying that somebody is performing a miracle, this is somebody who is strictly divine. This is somebody who clearly is getting a power from a source that's not of this earth. Now, if you can admit out your own mouth that somebody is doing miracles and somebody who is preaching with remarkable and amazing teachings and has wisdom that's none like you ever heard, you would think common sense would tell you this is somebody whom I need to look, watch, and listen to. Let's see how they respond. Isn't this the carpenter? See, look, here come that familiarity. Because remember, he back in his hometown. So after they had admitted with their own admission, what's the wisdom that has been given him? What are these remarkable miracles he's performing? Isn't this the carpenter? Now look how the chain of events finna unfold after this. It's crazy how people who think they know you will never let go of the image that they think of you. And this is why it's not for you to try to convince nobody who you are, and especially who you are in the Lord or in the kingdom. It's almost as if God didn't reveal it to him, then hey, it ain't your job to try to convince him. So listen how they go. Isn't this Mary's son and the brothers of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? Crazy. Look. As soon as they mention, isn't this Mary's son? You already can tell how this conversation is going to go. It's crazy. And this is what's to be expected, brothers and sisters. This is what's to be expected when you choose to go from living in the world to living for the Lord. Even though people can see that there's wisdom you might have, you could perform a miracle. They can admit out their own mouth that you have a remarkable wisdom, and the teachers that in the way you speaking is totally different than what they used to. So even though they can admit all these things, they still can't let go of the fact that ain't this Mary's son? ain't this brothers James, Joseph, and them? Let's see how this thing unfold, man. And if they did it to the Messiah, best believe they gonna do it to you. I don't know. It's easy to say what we wouldn't do. And I used to say that all the time, especially about the children of Israel, how God performed all the miracles. I used to always think, oh, they was stupid, they was this. But then if you think about it, we are them. We are. God be doing miracles in front of us every day. Just because it ain't big, grand miracles on the scale that you would have to think that, or that you would think should be a life changer or something like that. But at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, we are the same. God performed miracles in front of us every day, man, and we still. Yeah, I see the questions, but I'm writing them down at the same time. And if let me back up a little bit. I have a birthday, Dixon. Yeah, we ain't gonna be spamming the chat, brothers and sisters. That's what we're not gonna do. Philip, what's going on, my brother? I know I came on kind of late, man. I had some technical difficulties. Hey, Christy, how you doing, sister? I look for a man of God. That's what I look for. So look, let's get back to it, man. We on verse 3. Isn't this the carpenter? Isn't this Mary's son and the brothers of James and Joseph and Judas? Well, they know his brothers. They know his mama. So they think, since they knew him from birth, or knew him since his youth, that he can't be anything other than the image that they have in their mind of him. Aren't his sisters here with us? And they took offense at this. They took offense of him. Now let's pause right here for a second, right? Let's just run it back real quick from the beginning, man, so we can get some really good context. Jesus left there and went to his hometown accompanied by his disciples. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were amazed. Where did this man get these things? They asked. What's the wisdom that he has been given? What are these remarkable miracles he's performing? Isn't this the carpenter? Isn't this Mary's son and brothers of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? Aren't his sisters here with us? And they took offense of him. They took offense of him. You got to ask yourself, what manner of men were these? How could you take offense to someone who's clearly divine, clearly teaching with remarkable wisdom? Out your own mouth, you confess that this brother is performing miracles. What offense do you have against this man? The offense they have was the fact that they have an image and they have an idea and they have an own perception of who they think he is. And the fact that he's showing them something different, that's going to automatically bring offense to you, because guess what? In your mind, you don't want to be wrong about nothing. The offense they took, all right, you got about 2 more comments, my brother, before I'm going to have to go ahead and get you up out of here, because we ain't on that. All right. You're more than welcome to stay, but if you keep with the spamming and all the foolish questions, bro, I mean, go ahead and, scroll to turn the page, my brother. There's a lot of other people here doing a whole bunch of other foolish stuff. We handling some business over here. So I'm being respectful to you. Please respect the chat, respect the live. And if not, I'm going to go ahead and kick you out of my house like you was in my real one. You hear me? God bless you, brother. So like I was saying, the offense people going to get when you show them something other than who they think you are, it's going to be an offense of the fact that no one wants to be wrong about who they perceive somebody to be. Even if you can show this brother a miracle right in their face, they always going to look at you as little Ray Ray or little man, whatever the hell they called you when you was a little kid. And that's always going to be anybody's focal point who eyes are blind to the fact, who ain't got the spirit of God living in them. See, you know the old saying, game recognized game? That's a very true statement. Very true. Familiar spirits recognize the other familiar spirits. You can tell if somebody is bearing good fruit or not. They said it out their own mouth. You know what I'm saying? And I think we need to really peep that and really understand and break that down, and we shouldn't take offense when people take offense to how brand new we become. Because when you start walking with the Lord and the Lord starts shaving stuff off of you, he starts purging you of all your worldliness and all your iniquities and all the sinful things you used to do. When you start to become a creature of somebody who you ain't never met before, I promise you, people going to say you are brand new. And the offense comes from the conviction that they get once they see that you made a change that they themselves can also make as well. That's why us knowing that the Messiah went through this, we should know, we should not take offense, and we should not be surprised when we get the rejection or the cold shoulders, or we get the persecution that comes along with changing our lives and changing our ways. I noticed something that was really crazy to me. When I was in the world, right, doing all type of worldly stuff and just basically being hell on wheels, I noticed that people didn't have a problem with that. People was cool with me. It wasn't until I stopped doing those things that people start asking, hey, man, what's wrong with you? What's going on with you? You changed. Like, it almost became like when I stopped smoking, when I stopped drinking, when I stopped running around the streets doing all kind of wickedness, and when I stopped doing these things, that's when the problem and the question started to arise. And it wasn't until years later till I realized that it was really people's convictions that was irritating them. Because they seen how crazy I was, right? So just when I changed and went the opposite way, the conviction came to them that saying they can do the same thing too. And a lot of people like living in their sins. A lot of people love living it, and they don't want to be questioned or challenged about it. Just think about that. And keep that in your mind before you get easily offended at the rejection that you're going to receive and thinking that's strange. You'll do yourself and save yourself a world of trouble once you understand that if they did it to the Father, did it to the Son, they're going to definitely do it to you. And then you can have that hurt that you might feel from the rejection they're going to give you, it'll turn into compassion that you'll have towards them. And then it won't be so hard to be a light to them either. Because now you're going to be concerned about their soul. Because you know, the more you walk with the Father, the more He reveals to you, the more grieved you are when you look at the current state and condition that people are in. Think about that. Wisdom says, with much knowledge comes much sorrow. Because the more your eyes get open to the world that we live in, and you can see the deterioration of the morality and the fabric of society is just going downhill into a slum. Once you start to see and understand that the consequences of this way of living is what it's going to lead to, sorrow starts to come. You start to get grieved. Because now you see that, oh, people are so lost and far. Exactly, my brother. More grace. And I wish I had understood this when I first came into my awakening. I took a real offense, and I thought I was, because it's crazy how you would think that people who said they love you, you would think it's crazy. Like, damn, like now change for the good. Now all of a sudden I don't get no support, like not a share, not a. It's like you get no support. People stay away from you. They call you a Bible thumper. They start almost trying to mock you. And it's just like it will trip you out at first until you start talking to other believers who went through the same thing. You start realizing, oh yeah, this is normal, and it hurts, but you got to build a bridge and get over that real quick. Because the times that we're living in, we definitely need all hands on deck, and we need to be healed. Because when we do come across that brother or that sister that's going to need some wise counsel, we can't be giving them some spiritual garbage that we went through and telling them what we did. We got to give them the word and how we're supposed to handle it. And going through these scriptures and looking at how the Messiah deal with it, that's what's going to be the cure. When you show them, hey, look, the one who you following, he went through it too. We have someone who went through everything that we're going through. That's the beautiful part about Christ, who was God, came into flesh and went through the same experience we had. Hey, but you know what? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. But as a believer, as someone who's called to be the light, it's our job to make them thirsty. You hear me? I hope you caught that. You can't force nobody to do nothing, but you can live a life that's so radiant and so sought after that people will be thirsty and asking, how do I get that living water that's spewing out of your stomach? That's what I learned, brother. The living water. Hey, you said it, my brother. We were just talking about that last night. About the woman at the well. And Jesus was telling her, hey, man, you're going to drink this water, you're going to be thirsty. You're going to come back again. But the water I got, hey, you'll never thirst again. It's that living water. Amen. All right, let's keep going, brothers and sisters. All right, we have verse 3. No, we already passed verse 3. I'm tripping. We're on verse 4. All right, verse 4. Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor except in his own town. A prophet is not without honor except in his own town, among his relatives, and in his own home. So to my recollection, this is referring to the fact that you're going to always be common to the people who you grew up around. You ain't going to have the honor within them. You'll go to a faraway land to some people that you just met, and I promise you, they'll recognize they'll appreciate who you are. Let me say that. And the mission and the job that you've taken up. Only the light want to accept the light. Go like that. So don't think it not strange, brothers and sisters, when we get rejected by the ones who was closest to us. Don't take it to heart. Don't have envy. Don't have resentment, or don't have no expectations. How about that? Don't expect nothing from the people that's closest to you. I'm telling you, it'll save you a world of trouble, and you won't waste a lot of time trying to figure this thing out. Because it will be hurtful. And if you don't have a brother or sister who went through it to point you in the direction and say, hey, look, we got a Messiah who went through the same thing, I promise you. Or if you ain't just led to it by seeking and searching for yourself. You can't be taking offense to things, man, because when you get saved, trust and believe me, amen, some of them seeds will find good soil. And that's the point. I'm glad you said that, my brother. That's the point. A lot of us gonna plant a seed and we ain't gonna get to see the harvest. And we got to be okay with that. Because there's gonna be some people who you gonna water and you'll see the harvest from, but you didn't do the hard work in the beginning. That's just how this game goes. One person plants, another one waters, but God gives the increase. And that's how it be. And that's why we can't be looking at somebody and thinking that the seed you planted is supposed to automatically turn into a tree overnight. Have you ever seen a seed go into a tree overnight? No, it don't work like that. It's exactly how it is when you start spitting this word out. It may look like I'm seeing that more so with my son. Like the things that I'm speaking into him right now, I get caught up in my emotions sometimes, and I'll be just getting frustrated with him. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking that all the stuff that I'm pouring into, he's supposed to instantly start bearing fruit from it, but it don't work like that. I didn't work like that. You didn't work like that, and we can't forget that. All right, let's get back to it. Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his own hometown, among his relatives, and in his own home." And in his own home. Verse 5. He could not do any miracles there except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them. Look. They say he couldn't even do no miracles there because the faith there was so slim to none. So all he did was just lay his hand on a couple people. That speaks a lot of volumes, brothers and sisters. Where there's no faith, there's no light, and the light can't be around the darkness. That's crazy how they had the Son of God in their own hometown, a place where he was well known and he was just too familiar to him. They couldn't accept the fact that he was just little Jesus who grew up around the way, you know what I'm saying? Who mother was Mary and brothers was Joseph and James and them. They couldn't accept the fact that he was born again. Man, look, that's what it is, brother. I promise you. And I say that not to be funny or comical either, because it's a very real thing. You know, we living in some last days right now, man. And the body of Christ is sick. The whole head is sick. You know, and it's little things like this that can turn a new convert and make them go astray, or make them just lose faith and just, you know what I'm saying, tap out really too early. It's from the rejection and the persecution that comes along with this. And then you have to question and say, hey, was he really one from the beginning? Everybody ain't built for this. But the ones who is in the fight, the ones who is, I just want to encourage y'all. Always keep in mind that if you read their life and study the life of the Messiah, you'll know what to expect. So it'll be easy for you when you get rejected. It'll be easy for you when the persecution comes. And when you see somebody else who's struggling with it, you can breathe life into them and point them to the script. Hey, look, we serve somebody who understands what we went through and what we're going through. This is how he handled it. This is how we gonna handle it too. I check this out, Houdini. You can go ahead and perform a miracle and disappear. You know what I'm talking about? Let's go to verse 6, y'all. He was amazed at their lack of faith. Then Jesus went around teaching from village to village. Ain't that? He was amazed at the lack of faith. That's a cold statement. Hey, I can't believe how faithless y'all is around these parts, man. Hey, that's... Oh, man, you don't want that on your resume. You hear me? And Messiah said he was amazed at their lack of faith. And that's, at the end of the day, that's basically what it is. And the lack of faith will come from, it will really be stemming from pride. Your pride won't allow you to be humble. Humble yourself. You know, the word says the Lord resists the prideful, but he draws near to the humble. He resists the proud. He won't even budge. He won't even breathe on them. But humble yourself and admit your wrongdoings and be childlike. So look, he was amazed at their lack of faith. Then Jesus went around teaching from village to village. Let's go to verse 7. Calling the 12 to himself, he began to send them out 2 by 2 and gave them authority over impure spirits. Amen. Look, he had 12 people who he just met following him. Wherever he go. With the ones who he grew up with, even his own brothers and sisters. They couldn't see him for nothing more than what they thought he was, which was little Jesus from down the street, who was Mary's son. They couldn't see him nothing other than that. But 12 strangers that he just met was willing to go with him everywhere he went and willing to die for him. Kingdom family is what we should be all seeking. Our brothers and sisters in the kingdom. And they're here right now on this earth. And those are the ones who we should be seeking and clinging to. Because at the end, we're going to be spending eternity with them, right? Left everything they had. Hey, look. Hey, that's some faith for you. That is, man. If Jesus came up to you on your job right now with all your bills and all the stuff you got going on in your life, and he told you to follow me, you got to have some serious faith to walk off the job and away from everything. That's some serious faith right there. All right, you know, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, man, because I started too late. That was my fault. It's already, what, 1 o'clock? So let's run this back, man. I just want to pull out the nuggets real quick. All right, it was in Matthew chapter 6. Jesus left there. I'm going to just read it from right here. Jesus left there and went to his hometown, accompanied by his disciples. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogues, and many who heard him were amazed. Where did this man get these things? They asked. What's the wisdom he had been? What's this wisdom that he has been given? What are these remarkable miracles he is performing? Isn't this the carpenter? Isn't this Mary's son and the brothers of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? Aren't his sisters here with us? And they took offense at him. Jesus said to them, a prophet is not without honor except in his own town, among his relatives, and in his own home. He could not do any miracles there except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them. He was amazed at their lack of faith. Then Jesus went around teaching from village to village, calling the 12 to himself. He began to send them out 2 by 2 and gave them authority over impure spirits. That's a beautiful way to go about dealing with rejection from those who was who think they know you, and those who think they're as closest to you. That's the character trait that we all need to be reflecting once we find ourselves in the situation. And oh, you will, brother and sister. Best believe it's gonna come. If you're truly seeking after the Lord, and you just expect it, so when it comes, you don't be taken off guard, knocked off your feet, it's laid over in the corner in the fetus position because you got punched in the stomach from something that you didn't expect. Just know that it's coming. Don't go looking for it. If you keep on walking with the Lord, trust me, it's gonna come. So, brothers and sisters on Facebook and YouTube, that's all I got for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm gonna make sure I have this problem all worked out before I even go live, because I see that now. I got to make sure before I even go that to make sure everything is on the up and up, man. I don't want to have that problem again. So, Facebook and YouTube, I'm gonna go ahead and tap up out of here, man. Like I always say, man, be strong.